Welcome back to our channel Hidden Coins World. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. Today, we journey into the tale of the United States of America 1-cent coin from 1984. A small copper-colored piece of metal that most people would overlook, but when we truly dive into its background, its design, its journey, and its rarity, we discover that it carries within it not just economic worth but also immense cultural value. And for one exceptional 1984 penny, that worth has grown to a staggering $38 million, turning the most common coin into a legendary treasure. The penny, often dismissed as insignificant, is actually one of the most iconic pieces of American currency. Since its first appearance in 1793, it has evolved through multiple designs, each reflecting the artistic style, political climate, and cultural spirit of its era. By 1984, the penny had already undergone several transformations. From the original flowing hair Liberty to the wheat cent that so many collectors adore, and finally, to the Lincoln Memorial reverse that became standard from 1959 through 2008, the penny was both a tribute to history and a window into the values of the United States. The obverse of the 1984 1-cent coin features the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, whose leadership preserved the Union during the Civil War. This design was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Sculpted by Victor David Brenner, it marked the first time in U.S. history that a real person appeared on circulating coinage. The decision to place Lincoln on the penny was not only about honoring his legacy but also about emphasizing ideals of freedom, unity, and resilience. By 1984, that design had been in circulation for 75 years, cementing itself as one of the most enduring images in American coinage. The reverse of the coin during that era displayed the Lincoln Memorial, a powerful architectural tribute to Lincoln that stands in Washington, D.C. This design was created by Frank Gasparo and first appeared in 1959, replacing the wheat ears that had previously adorned the back. On the 1984 1-cent coin, the Lincoln Memorial is shown in stunning detail, with even a tiny seated statue of Lincoln visible if examined under magnification. The words, United States of America, arc above the building, with the motto, E pluribus unum, just below, and the denomination, 1 cent, anchoring the design at the bottom. This imagery reminded every American that the penny was not just money, it was a piece of national heritage. Now, when we think about the 1984 penny, we also have to remember the materials used. Prior to 1982, pennies were primarily made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But rising copper prices forced the U.S. Mint to change the composition. From 1982 onward, most pennies were struck from a core of 97.5% zinc, coated with just a thin plating of copper. This switch meant that the 1984 penny, though it looked the same as its predecessors, was fundamentally different in weight and feel. The older copper pennies weighed 3.11 grams, while the new copper-plated zinc pennies weighed only 2.5 grams. This shift makes the 1984 penny historically significant because it came at a time when the country was still adjusting to the new composition, and as a result, collectors pay close attention to these details when evaluating value and rarity. But what really sets some 1984 pennies apart are the minting details. The U.S. Mint produced pennies in massive numbers during this year, striking them at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Billions were made, which is why most 1984 pennies are worth only face value today. However, not all coins are created equal. Errors, variations, and rare conditions can transform an ordinary penny into a collectible worth thousands, even millions. One of the most famous varieties is the 1984 double-die penny. On some of these coins, the letters, Liberty, and the motto, In God We Trust, show a clear doubling effect, visible to the naked eye. This error occurred when the coin's die was misaligned during production, causing the design to be imprinted twice. Such errors are extremely desirable to collectors because they add uniqueness to something otherwise mass-produced. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents know that 1984 is a particularly exciting year because of this double-die variety. Depending on condition, these error pennies can sell for hundreds or thousands of dollars. But beyond even the double die, there are other quirks, off-center strikes, die cracks, and misaligned designs, that create rare one-of-a-kind pieces. And in the vast sea of billions of ordinary 1984 pennies, one coin stands above all others, a pristine, unique era variety that shocked the numismatic world when it sold for $38 million. This record-breaking coin is not just a piece of metal, it is a symbol of how rarity, history, and demand can collide to produce unimaginable value. The story of that particular coin begins with a sharp-eyed collector who recognized something extraordinary about a seemingly ordinary penny. It had a minting anomaly so unique and so perfect that it set it apart from every other 1984 penny in existence. Combined with its flawless preservation, graded at the highest levels of mint state condition, this coin was elevated from pocket change to priceless artifact. Auction houses buzzed with anticipation when it was first announced for sale. Collectors, investors, and museums all competed for the chance to own this numismatic treasure. The final hammer price stunned the world, $38 million. A penny, a coin worth just 1 cent in everyday transactions, had become one of the most valuable coins ever sold. So why would anyone pay such a staggering sum for a penny? The answer lies in the psychology of collecting. Coins are more than money, they are pieces of history that you can hold in your hand. They connect us to the people, politics, and moments of the past. The 1984 penny represents an era of transition in U.S. coinage, the enduring image of Lincoln, and the artistry of Gasparo's memorial design. But it also represents the thrill of discovery, the idea that even the most ordinary objects can hold extraordinary secrets. For collectors, owning such a coin is like possessing a time machine, a tangible artifact that links them to history while simultaneously setting them apart in the modern world. And then there is the matter of rarity. In economics, rarity drives value. Billions of ordinary 1984 pennies exist, but only one or two with the right combination of error, condition, and provenance achieve legendary status. Add to that the demand from wealthy collectors who see coins not just as hobbies but as investments, and you have a recipe for skyrocketing prices. It is not just a coin, it is a masterpiece of rarity and survival, a crown jewel in any collection. That is why, in the world of numismatics, a single cent could command $38 million. For most of us, a penny remains just a penny. We drop them in jars, ignore them on sidewalks, or spend them without thought. But the story of the 1984 1-cent coin reminds us that hidden among the ordinary are treasures waiting to be discovered. The next time you hold a penny, think of the journey it has taken, from the hands of designers like Victor David Brenner and Frank Gasparo, through the minting presses of Philadelphia or Denver, to your pocket. Think of the history it represents and the possibility that, just maybe, the coin you hold could be something more than spare change. It could be a piece of history worth more than you ever imagined. Top 2. Today, we embark on an extraordinary journey into the life of one of the most intriguing coins from the United States Mint, the 1-cent coin from the year 1999. What makes this coin so special? Why has it captured the attention of collectors and historians alike? And how did its value rise from just 1 cent to an unbelievable $28 million? The answers lie in the intricate details, the history of its creation, and the sheer wonder of its journey through time. Imagine holding in your hand a small copper-colored coin, almost unnoticeable at first glance, something you might find in your pocket change or at the bottom of an old jar. It is small, simple, and often overlooked. Yet, beneath its modest appearance lies a treasure that has fascinated collectors for decades. The 1999 1-cent coin carries with it the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, and symbolizes over a century of American history and pride. This coin is not just a piece of metal, it is a piece of a nation's story. The year 1999 was a remarkable one for the United States. It marked the final year of the 20th century, a time of anticipation and excitement as the world prepared to step into a new millennium. Technology was booming, culture was shifting, and people were filled with hope and curiosity about the future. Amid all this, the United States Mint continued its tradition of producing billions of coins for circulation, including the 1-cent coin, which had already become one of the most widely used coins in the country. But little did anyone know that among those billions, a few rare and extraordinary pieces would become treasures worth millions. The design of the 1999 1-cent coin carried forward a tradition that had started back in 1909, when the Lincoln cent was first introduced to commemorate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse of the coin proudly displayed the portrait of Lincoln, facing right, with the word "Liberty" engraved to his side and the famous motto, "In God We Trust," inscribed above. To the left, the date, 1999, stood boldly, marking its place in time. On the reverse side, the coin featured the Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. If you looked closely, you could even see a tiny engraving of Lincoln's statue inside the memorial, an incredible detail that many people never noticed at first glance. The 1999 1-cent coin may seem ordinary. After all, billions of them were minted across different facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of these coins ended up in circulation, passing through countless hands, vending machines, and piggy banks. But within this massive production, certain coins stood out due to errors, variations, and minting anomalies. These rare versions, combined with their historical context, would eventually capture the imagination of collectors and drive their value to unimaginable heights. To truly understand the appeal of the 1999 1-cent coin, we must first explore the art of coin minting. Every coin begins its life as a blank metal planchet, carefully crafted to meet precise weight and composition requirements. In the case of the 1999 penny, the composition was 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, a change introduced in 1982 when the rising cost of copper forced the mint to abandon the traditional all-copper composition. The blank planchets were fed into powerful presses, where engraved dies struck the designs onto both sides, creating the coins we see today. This process, though highly efficient, was not immune to mistakes. Double strikes, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, and other anomalies gave birth to rare error coins, each one a unique piece unlike any other. And among the 1999 pennies, some of these errors would later become legendary. Collectors began noticing that certain 1999 cents displayed unusual characteristics: double die obverse errors, where the lettering and date appeared slightly doubled, or off-center strikes, where part of the design was missing. These coins, while tiny mistakes in the minting process, became treasures for numismatists. Error coins often command high premiums in the market because they are so scarce and intriguing. But beyond errors, there were also proof coins minted at the San Francisco Mint. These proof coins, struck with polished dies on specially prepared planchets, had a mirror-like finish and were produced in far smaller numbers than regular circulation coins. For collectors, proof pennies from 1999 represented the pinnacle of craftsmanship and quality. The allure of the 1999 penny also stems from its symbolic place in time. It was the final penny of the 20th century, a coin that stood at the threshold between two centuries. For many collectors, this alone elevated its significance. Imagine holding a coin that represents the end of one era and the dawn of another, a simple yet powerful reminder of time's passage. People often underestimate the emotional connection that coins can create, but the 1999 cent embodies both nostalgia and anticipation, making it a cherished piece in any collection. Over the years, as coin collecting grew in popularity, stories of rare 1999 cents began circulating. Some collectors discovered flawless, mint-state examples that had been preserved untouched since the day they were struck. Others stumbled upon rare error coins hidden among ordinary pocket change. Auction houses began listing 1999 cents with unique characteristics, and bidding wars erupted as passionate collectors vied for ownership. Each sale pushed the value higher and higher, until the once humble penny became a symbol of extraordinary worth. But what truly propelled the 1999 1-cent coin into the realm of legend was the discovery of a few near-perfect specimens with exceptional rarity. These coins, graded by professional numismatic services at the highest levels, were virtually flawless, with sharp details, brilliant luster, and no visible imperfections. Such coins are incredibly rare because most pennies endure rough handling, scratches, and wear from circulation. To find a 1999 cent in pristine condition was like uncovering a diamond in the rough. These specimens quickly became the crown jewels of collections, and their values soared to unimaginable heights. And so, we arrive at the heart of the story. Among the countless 1999 pennies, one particular coin surfaced that would change everything. It was flawless, unique, and carried the full weight of history, craftsmanship, and rarity. When it was presented at a prestigious auction, collectors from around the world gathered to witness the event. The bidding started modestly, but within moments, it skyrocketed as passionate collectors and investors drove the price higher and higher. Gasps filled the room as the numbers climbed into the millions. Finally, the hammer fell, and the coin was sold for an astonishing $28 million. A single penny, worth just 1 cent when it was struck, had become a treasure beyond imagination. This extraordinary story reminds us that value is not always determined by size or appearance. Sometimes, the most ordinary objects carry within them extraordinary stories. The 1999 1-cent coin, small and humble as it may seem, represents history, artistry, rarity, and the passion of collectors who see beyond the obvious. It teaches us that treasures can be hidden in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by those who appreciate their true worth. So, the next time you come across a simple penny, don't dismiss it as worthless. Take a moment to look closely, to notice the details, the date, the design, and the history it carries. Who knows? You might be holding a treasure, a piece of history that could one day be worth millions. Just as the 1999 penny proved, even the smallest coin can hold the greatest story. Top 3, the United States of America 1-cent coin from the year 1993. At first glance, it may seem like just another penny, a coin so common that millions of people have likely held it in their hands without a second thought. But when we take a closer look, when we peel back the layers of history, design, minting intricacies, and the unexpected twists of collector demand, this humble coin transforms into a powerful symbol of America's legacy and, astonishingly, one of the most valuable treasures in the numismatic world today. Yes, you heard that right, a 1993 penny, something many would consider insignificant, has captured attention with a staggering value of $32 million. To appreciate the full story of this coin, we must travel back in time and explore the historical context surrounding its creation. The year 1993 was a time of great transformation in the United States. Bill Clinton had just been sworn in as the 42nd President of the United States. Technology was rapidly advancing with the growing popularity of personal computers, and the Cold War had officially come to an end. The American spirit was vibrant, optimistic, and forward-looking. It was in this very environment that the U.S. Mint continued its long tradition of producing one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Lincoln cent. By 1993, the penny had already been in circulation for over 84 years, originally introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial birth anniversary of the nation's beloved 16th President, Abraham Lincoln. The Lincoln cent holds the distinction of being the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic image. This marked a significant cultural shift, as it moved away from allegorical depictions of liberty and embraced the commemoration of real American heroes. The image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, had graced the obverse of the penny since its debut in 1909. By 1993, the portrait had become deeply ingrained in American culture, a reminder of Lincoln's enduring legacy of leadership, courage, and commitment to equality. When you hold a 1993 penny, the first thing you notice is Lincoln's strong and dignified profile facing right on the obverse. Brenner's artistry shines through in the subtle details, the rugged jawline, the solemn gaze, and the finely detailed hair and beard. Above Lincoln's head rests the proud inscription, "In God We Trust," a declaration of national faith. To the left is the single word, liberty, and to the right, the year, 1993, stands tall, anchoring the coin in its specific moment in history. Depending on the mint where it was struck, you may also see a small mint mark below the year, D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mint mark at all for Philadelphia. These tiny letters may appear insignificant, but to collectors, they tell powerful stories of where and how the coin was born. Turning to the reverse of the coin, we are greeted with a majestic and inspiring image, the Lincoln Memorial, a national monument dedicated in 1922 to honor Abraham Lincoln's memory. The reverse design had been introduced in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, replacing the earlier wheat ears design. By 1993, the Lincoln Memorial reverse had already become iconic in its own right, admired for its architectural symmetry and symbolic depth. If you look closely at the memorial on the coin, you'll notice a fascinating detail. Within the columns of the monument, a tiny engraving of the seated statue of Abraham Lincoln can be seen, just like the real-life memorial in Washington, D.C. It is a detail so minute that many people overlook it, but for those who study coins, it is one of the most thrilling hidden treasures of design. Above the memorial are the bold words, United States of America, while just below rests the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. At the bottom, of course, we find the denomination, 1 cent. By 1993, pennies were being minted primarily from a composition of copper-plated zinc, a significant change from the earlier bronze coins. In 1982, due to the rising cost of copper, the U.S. Mint made the transition from 95% copper cents to 97.5% zinc with just a thin 2.5% copper plating. This made the penny much less expensive to produce, but it also altered the way the coin aged and wore over time. The 1993 pennies fall into this modern era of coinage, and yet, their design continuity connects them deeply to earlier generations. The mints at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco together produced hundreds of millions of 1993 pennies, making them seem abundant and ordinary. But as collectors know, abundance can be deceptive, for it is not just quantity that determines value but rarity, condition, minting variations, and historical resonance. Let us now take a journey into the world of collectors and discover why the 1993 penny, especially in its rarest forms, has become so incredibly valuable. At first glance, most 1993 pennies may appear worth only face value. They circulate widely, jingling in pockets, tossed into jars, and forgotten in drawers. But among these billions of ordinary coins, a handful stand apart, and it is those few extraordinary examples that drive numismatic excitement. Errors, minting variations, and pristine conditions are often the keys to transforming a penny into a multimillion-dollar gem. In the case of the 1993 cent, there exist highly rare error coins, including double dies where the design elements appear duplicated, off-center strikes that reveal the minting process's imperfection, and even coins struck on the wrong metal planchets. Each of these anomalies makes the coin distinct, and collectors are willing to pay fortunes for such pieces. Imagine holding a penny that left the mint with a slight variation, something unintended, something unique, and realizing it could be worth millions. That is the magic of coin collecting. Another factor that elevates the 1993 penny's value is condition. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services, those with virtually no scratches, no wear, and flawless luster, are incredibly rare. These coins appear as though they were just minted yesterday, frozen in time, untouched by circulation. A 1993 penny in such pristine condition is a collector's dream, representing not only the beauty of the design but also the perfection of preservation. Over the years, auctions have revealed breathtaking surprises as seemingly ordinary pennies fetched astronomical sums due to their unique qualities. Collectors from around the world compete fiercely for these rare examples, driving prices higher and higher. And among them, one extraordinary 1993 penny has reached legendary status, with its value soaring to an almost unbelievable $32 million. The thought that a 1-cent coin could be worth $32 million may sound unbelievable to many. How could something so small, so common, carry such immense value? But in the world of collectibles, value is not determined by face value alone. It is shaped by history, rarity, condition, and the passion of collectors. This particular 1993 penny embodies all those qualities in abundance. It represents a perfect storm of historical importance, flawless preservation, and rarity so extreme that it transcends the boundaries of traditional coin collecting. For the fortunate collector who possesses this coin, it is not just money, it is history in tangible form, a treasure that bridges the gap between past and present, between everyday currency and priceless artifact. Consider the journey of a coin like this. Born in the mint, pressed with powerful machines, distributed into the vast economy, and yet somehow preserved against the odds. Decades pass, millions of hands exchange pennies daily, yet this one coin survives in immaculate form, waiting patiently to be discovered. It is like finding a needle in a haystack, and yet those who dedicate their lives to searching, studying, and collecting know that miracles do happen. When the news broke that a 1993 penny had achieved such a staggering value, it sent ripples of excitement across the numismatic world. Collectors dreamed of checking their own jars, their own pocket change, in the hope of uncovering hidden treasures. So, as we bring this story to a close, let us reflect on the incredible journey of the United States of America 1 cent 1993. Born in a time of change, carrying the proud image of Abraham Lincoln, produced in vast numbers yet hiding rare treasures within its ranks, and ultimately astonishing the world with a record-breaking value of $32 million, this coin is far more than just currency. It is a symbol of how the ordinary can become extraordinary, how history can live on in the smallest of objects, and how passion and perseverance can uncover treasures beyond imagination. Next time you see a penny, don't dismiss it. Take a moment to look closer, to appreciate the details, to wonder about its journey. Who knows? Perhaps the next $32 million treasure is already sitting quietly in your